Don't pick Annie alert is what I speak to there.
Pick Rise.
Yeah, I mean, even the
Fake
Rise
counter.
here is...
It's so fake. I'm on the Alk battery train. It's such a fake counter into Rise.
You're saying Cassio's supposed to counter Rise, or Rise is supposed to counter Cassio?
Apparently people are picking Cassiopeia into Rise to counter Rise, and it's just not working.
Oh yeah. Well, that makes... Okay, that's conceivable. I can understand that. That's fine. Whether or not they do that here, we'll see if WE want to go for it, but the Cassio can be so easily like outranged by something like a Corki and a Syndra that taking it early is a bit of a risk. Now, Care obviously one who's quite happy to dabble with it, and what I really would not be surprised by is Hoya taking this pick topside, just to throw that one out there early as something that could happen. We've seen Cassio top plenty of times in the past. Yeah, and I would not be surprised if the fact that they've taken this so early is alluding to a bit of a flex pick here.
Yeah, maybe Hoya's just like, yo, we'll just flex it out. It's all good. We'll be super happy with it. We have a Caitlyn lock-in coming through, and it's going to be paired up with the Bard. You know, I kind of have a little bit of a gripe with this pairing. I think there are times where the Bard rooms can be effective, but there are also times where I really don't want to leave my Caitlyn alone.
No, but the synergy between these two is also really, really solid, right? You've got Tempered Fate, which lines up for really easy traps. If you're fast enough on the fingers, you've got a Cosmic Binding, which also lines up for traps. So it has a really solid 2 versus 2 prowess, not necessarily one to enable these roams for Zhuo. And I sort of kind of jokingly went, don't pick Annie into this. And now WE have done exactly that. So a champion that... Yeah, exactly. That gets outranged by everything so far. And they've gone, yeah, you know what? I don't care for range. I'll build a Proto Belt again. What are you going to do?
Nothing, apparently. Second half of bans coming through, and you can see Team WE, they're spending a top lane ban. That Gnar is going to be taken away, but as you pointed out, and now it's kind of sticking in my brain, and this is definitely a series and a game where NIP might be like, hey, if the matchup's favorable, maybe we will send the Cassiopeia up top.
Well, the matchup is already favorable for Care. Like, Cassio's fine into the Annie in the mid lane, I think. Like, that's feels like WE have put themselves into this position where it can go either way. The Cassio has the sustained DPS, and I think that Cassio has a really good build path versus the Annie. You just go tier, you go Rod, and the Annie can never actually burst you fully out 100 to 0, and you have the consistent DPS to sort of sustain through it as well. If you get enough mana, the Tibbers is just a health sack for you to try and drain from as well. But what these two compositions do really nicely for WE is they've got this really strong mid-game turn-on where they've got Malignance, Trinity Force once again coming through for their mid and bot lane. NIP, though, again, they've got some really solid scaling. Cassio in the late game, incredible. Caitlyn, once she hits that 5-item spike, truly a monster to try to contend with, as well as all the playmaking for Zhuo. What NIP need is a little bit of a bridge, so some early game in that jungle role, most likely to try and get them over the line and to that late game. For WE, they're looking for something, I would argue, to facilitate their early game strength, and then maybe something to fall back on if necessary.
I really like this Trundle pickup. I think that the Trundle Pillar can disrupt everybody on NIP and cause a lot of problems in a lot of these skirmishes. Jace going to be the lock-in here. There is a chance that it goes into the jungle. There's a chance it goes top lane. So we started to see Jace jungle make a bit of a revival. Whoa. All right. This is... I have no idea what the hell is going where, honestly, bro. It's
standard. It's Jace top, Kiana jungle, Cassio mid.
It could be Kiana mid. It could be Cassiopeia top and Jace jungle. I think that you're right. Yeah. But it's a thing.
There are a lot of giggles on the WE roster there, so maybe they're doing some fancy stuff as well. But the Gragas locked in on the top side for Cube here, so something that can sustain, that can offset more than anything any of the problems that we're expecting to see go WE top lane's way. And in terms of things to facilitate, things to get the ball rolling in start of a fight, an Annie and a Gragas duo do quite nicely when we get to there. For NIP, rather, I talked about them needing some sort of bridging jungler to get them to that late game. Kiana not the go-to for that, but something that can quite easily find some success through this early game. You know, you've got a lot of elements at your disposal, so the CC's there, the damage is there as well. And this is a really tricky comp to execute for NIP, but if they can do it, they've got a lot of damage to back themselves up with.
No doubt about it, but they do get to be a little bit more proactive in the early game this time around compared to game 1. I am also looking for NIP to this game. If you didn't do it last game, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't do it this game, but Grubs really need to be theirs because Caitlyn takes great advantage, Jace takes great advantage. You don't want to give it over to a Trundle under any circumstances, regardless if they're coming out of the jungle. So if I'm NIP, I'm setting my sights over there after trying to get some early advantages with the raw strength that my jungle and my bot lane can pump out. It's going to be WE, NIP on the Rift, maybe the final game of the day starting now. They took out the ward, but it doesn't look like they're going to do anything with that. I thought maybe that Guwon was going to try to start elsewhere, maybe throw Team WE off the scent, but he's just going to stick on Raptors for now.
Alrighty. Nice to see that already early on we're getting these two bot laners trading. I think that looking at those keystones as well, Deathfire for both of our mid lanes for Cassio, it is just, like, without a doubt, the best rune. That could possibly exist. It's going to have such insane value for the Annie, the Malignants as well. You can see that those two will pair up quite nicely with one another. And it looks like as this game gets later, to not really my surprises, the AI bot has favoured NIP, and that does make sense. They've got a Cassio, they've got a Caitlyn scaling into the late game. I think that it's going to be really tricky for WE to contend with that as this game gets later.
See, Karis already down to half HP, and that was just based off of mostly level 1 trading, so Karis certainly been getting the better of the Team WE mid laner, and you know, Team WE, for all of their faults, whenever you're not doing particularly well in a season, the numbers aren't going to look particularly good, but they have looked particularly poor for guys like Cube and Karis. Really need to turn it around and have a good game for themselves in order to try to force a game 3 in this series.
Small thing there, but Monki just passes mid lane and it stops Care from getting the cannon, which I do find quite funny. So a very small advantage being picked up for Karis there, as he's going to struggle his way through probably the majority of this laning phase. Similarly to Cube as well on that top side. So WE here in a bit of a position where they've drafted themselves definitely 2 losing solo lanes, and they're playing up against Caitlyn Bard down on that bot side, which is a really tricky one to lane into. Yes, you've got the Corki Nami to try and make something happen, but I do think that this early game for NIP is going to be pretty darn favourable. And, you know, despite the fact that they've got this worse scaling as well. Oh.
Well, Guwon went for a crab, and here's a nice stun onto Care. Desperately trying to get to his jungler, flashes away, takes a bite out of Crime and flashes on top of him, and it's first blood going over to Monki.
Okay. No response from Guwon, so Monki will be able to take this top grab as well unscathed. Care burns his flash, still dies, and that's a pretty dire situation. Again, you have this Annie, this champion that can set you up so easily, and with a pillar to go in tow, very likely that it's a very easy repeat into this mid lane, and Care might find himself struggling his way through the next 5 minutes or so without that flash being ready.
That's just what Monki can do sometimes, and especially on this Trundle, where he seems to have a really high level of comfort. Whenever he's playing this champion, he's always active in the early game, making things happen, and you know, already showing up twice, as you mentioned earlier, for the cannon denial, and then this time around for a kill. We'll see if he's able to continue to keep this pressure up, get himself and some of his other laners ahead, and put Team WE in a good spot.
Alrighty. And that sort of has been the MO, I suppose, for WE. And they need this early game lead, which is, like you say, the really important part of this. So hopefully they can find it. Obviously, as this game gets later, the problems that WE are going to face is that they don't have enough damage to get through, or to sort of go toe-to-toe, I'd say, with NIP. I think they've got really good burst damage onto a couple, maybe just 1, maybe 2 targets at a push. And if those 2 targets fall, then hey presto, hallelujah, you found a couple of kills. But the high likelihood is that there's then 2 more carries ready to go and also deal all that damage.
What else is going to be problematic later is that you're not really great at snap engages. I mean, you would have to have Cube, you know, manage to find an explosive cast, or Karis drop a flash tibbers. So if that means you can't start these fights right away, Hoya's poke is going to be big as the game goes on. Guwon is going to be spotted out here by multiple members of Team WE. He'll be able to just hop over the wall. No punishment to be had on him. With this dragon up now, I do wonder which team is going to go after it first, as we're already seeing a lot of members down on this bottom side, but with a care recall and no teleport, looks like Team WE could have the inside track if they want it.
Honestly, would still like to see WE try and play for this. You can already see that Assum, having a pretty good run of things down on this bot side, has got a small CS lead over his counterpart, has gone back to base, picked up a PF sword as well, so we are opting into presumably the Yuntal here for the Caitlyn, and that 100% early crit, which will be really nice to see. Opportunity, of course, for it to be that Storm Razor, but expectations would be that we're going for that attack speed ramping as well. But that Drake doesn't look like it's particularly on the cards for either of these two teams. With Monki recalling, maybe that's going to open up the window, and it does look like Guwon has just aggroed it, so with Hoya already making some pretty decent tracks onto this top side, Cube, no mana, can't really stop Hoya from doing this, and as Gragas supposed to be a neutralizer, has really done anything but. Hoya with a 25 CS lead, 800 gold lead, 3 plate lead. This is the second time that we've had to highlight this, but Hoya doing very well.
Not bad for a guy who doesn't generate a lot of gold in the top lane.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean like the worst top laner in the league at generating gold, and yet he is putting in a lot of work. They gave him a favorable matchup. He's up about 30 CS, and you know what? He's performing on it. You can give people all the good matchups in the world, but if they make a mistake, they make a misplay, they give an inch, it's not as effective. This time around, he is doing super well to kick things off. A good stabilizer for an IP. A minute until these scrubs come up. Remember, I think there's going to be a lot of value on them. Karis has dropped Tibbers on Kair's head. Kair responded in kind with both of these mid laners down the teleport for a little bit. We'll see if it has any long-lasting impacts for any potential grub skirmish.
I love mid lane, man. This was supposed to be our secondary damage roll. We're 7 minutes in. Let's take a look at the build paths of both of these two. Oh, look, 0 AP. Yeah, that's what we like to see. Tier 2 boots for the Yanni. I mean, pretty mandatory, to be honest. In mid lane, you're supposed to go for those pretty quickly just because it's such an important part of your role quest, but the Yanni in particular with those lucidity boots. Extra flash timing always feels good as About hops forward.
I like this look. Assum's got to use the barrier. About still has his. They will not opt to fight any longer. About will just go and clean up a couple of CS. He is not doing that well in the CS department here, but I mean, Caitlyn will outrange. Holdover Peacemaker gets the barrier out.
Little face check there. Does end up costing that summoner spell, and I think realistically, if About had have committed earlier with his barrier, might have been able to find that solo kill, but doesn't matter. It's going to be a wave denied underneath this turret, and About going to be able to pick up a plate before they recall as well. Whilst Zhuo on a little bit of a journey, picking up his chimes, making sure that he's got some vision down. It will spot Monki taking out this blue buff. Whether they can do anything about it, though, I do not think is the case.
Dueling teleport's going to come in as Guwon is making his way down after a couple of grubs were taken. We have Monki who's golden. Bubble going to land on Cassiopeia. Here comes Karis as Kair's down to half HP. The pillar's going to go down. Guwon's not going to be able to get there fast enough. Supreme display of talent can hit it. A lot of walls there, but if you're not close, it won't matter. Explosive cast getting used by Cube as he hits him with a bit of a bomba, but nothing too worrisome.
No, it's good heads-up play by Cube there. He times the ulti for when Hoya auto-attacks him, so he thinks he's going to take turret aggro. Honestly, I imagine Hoya was just a little bit too far out of range of the turret for him to take aggro in the first place, so it's a good idea from Cube. Unfortunately, doesn't quite execute on it as rightly as necessary, and a Hoya plate picked up once again here. 1.1k gold, 30 CS lead, everything going his way. So a nice start out for NIP, and specifically for their top laner. Despite that early first blood, Kair in the mid lane has consistently been able to find an advantage in the CS department, not the gold department just yet.
And I want to see Hoya show up to this dragon in 2 minutes and really make his presence known. I know he's got a really nice lead for himself, and there's only one plate left up there. You know, he's got 2 grubs in his back pocket. He really could focus on that turret, but I think you could really come down and start throwing around some shock blasts and making it so Team WE can't fight at all. Timber's going to get used here in the mid lane. Guwon showing up just to clear out a ward means that Karis cannot step up any further.
And this is just what you'll see for these 2 mid laners. They're just going to consistently throw the ulti back, a little bit for poke on the Annie's side, but need to keep that one up for Care. That Petrifying Gaze, such a crucial turning tool if you ever need it. And you can see again one of these sort of mandatory versus Annie builds is working towards those Mercury treads as whoa, Care has had enough of the bear. He's had enough of the bear, that's all.
Alright. I guess it was unbearable for him to deal with. That's why he needed the Petrifying Gaze. Monki shows up, and now without that cooldown, Care to make sure that he never has to use his flash. But the Petrifying Gaze should be up around this dragon timer, so I guess it's okay.
I mean, sure. Sure, yeah, it's fine. Nothing, hopefully nothing bad will happen. There's now a sort of minute and a half window. Yeah, now this small window where bad things could happen that might have been preventable if we had that ulti. 3 people lurking around Karis here. Zhuo not going to try to commit to this, but Guwon will be spotted on this pink ward as he exits the brush, and Care will feel vindicated, rather. Karis will feel vindicated that he did end up playing a little bit safer.
Dragging up in about 10 seconds as Care has regained control of this mid lane. Up big on CS, and uh-oh, that Tempered Fate had landed. Assum is going to get comboed by Arhad, who stemmed the assault of the NIP 80 carry.
Yeah, not sure who was supposed to be doing more damage here, the Corki or the Nami, but I know who did in that instance, as Guwon is now aggressively eat into Monki.
Yep, he's a level up on Monki, but flash for flash, stun is there. Supreme Display of Talent ain't enough to save you. As Team WE pick up their 2nd kill of the game. Meanwhile, Hoya will be able to take the turret before he could take many more turret shots.
A level up, but a mid laner down, most importantly, in that case. And now that is going to be the first dragon that WE will be able to secure. Whilst there's this sort of ticking time bomb in this top side, Hoya is continuously growing this gold lead. The rest of the map seems to be going WE's way, as Assum forced out of that bot lane fight, goes back, picks up a Storm Razor. Looks like that Trinity Force is in the works for about as well. But it's really all pending on when Hoya comes in and starts to do something. And what I'd say is that at this stage in the game, that gold lead actually isn't too impactful. Largely because he's spent a lot of that gold not on physical damage, right? If we took the gold lead away, we'd be taking away the tier and the Merc treads, as now Zhuo should be able to fall to the way. But it hasn't yet converted into physical damage leads just yet.
Well, the next opportunity is going to be in 2 more minutes when the Rift Herald is up. You know, Team WE wants to keep pushing the pace. Guwon's all up in the face of everybody here. He's stealth, but he's in a lot of trouble. We'll be able to slide back toward Care and Zhuo. Both junglers on both sides are low. Tempered Fate forces the flash out of Monki, and now About has nowhere to go. The miasma, the traps, he's dead.
And that's what happens. I mean, sort of learning, learning nothing almost from game 1 to game 2. Holds on to his flash here, does end up falling. Monki able to flash out on the backside, and I think in fairness to About there, even flashing, he either flashes into the team and dies instantly, or he flashes up and that range doesn't actually get him out of the Tempered Fate. So I think that I'm actually quite willing to give him a fair grace on that, as Hoya is able to continue progressing this one, as NIP are doing an incredible job. They have the win in this early game. They're 3k gold up, and they scale better. So, I mean, for WE at this stage, like, this is, yes, the kill score is 2-1, but this game is looking bleak.
And now it's going to be really hard to stop Hoya for the next couple of moments because he's got a blue buff.
Yeah.
Taking that away it means infinite shock blasts all day long are on the menu. And sure, Cube can sustain, but he's going to continuously give up ground. 40 seconds until this Rift Herald is up. If I'm Team WE, I am still itching for a fight because you have to take advantage of the fact that you're strong. You've got your Trinity Force on your Corki. You've got Malignance on Karis. Monki down on the bot side here, and he's very fast. Chasing after Care, but the Petrifying Gaze lands on them both. Guwon still keeping his way out. Tipper's gonna get dropped, but no stun. Meanwhile, Monki is getting chopped down by Care as he sinks his fangs into Trundle. Karis trying to get under the turret. Supreme display of talent. Flash stun. Electrocute as Zhuo gets the kill. It's a 2-0 in the bot side.
It's an absolute slaughter, and Cube's just missed his body slam up here as well. Knocks Hoya into the wall, but that's not really doing too much in terms of that CC. No response from the rest of the squad either, as bot lane can't move in case they lose their mid turret. The rest of his team are dead. I mean, this game is just going from bad to worse here. NIP, they're snowballing with the earlier game, or they're snowballing with the late game composition. This is a real masterclass from them.
And now Karis up so much gold too. It's a 1,500 gold lead for him. You know, it's got 1,700 on Hoya. It's a 5,000 gold lead for NIP off the back of that play. They were getting incremental advantages everywhere off of CS differential. And in just a couple of moments, it's exploded. Potential desperation coming out here from Team WE as Monki's going to get engaged on, but nobody's here to help out Hoya. He's forced to flash away. Now the rest of the team is going to be here. Arha and about here as well. NIP, I think they're reaching for a fight, but they don't have a supreme display of talent. They don't have the petrifying gaze up either. Lots of ultimates down for the moment.
I mean, I think this fight for the Herald, again, for WE, they have to fight. The game doesn't get easier. So you just kind of have to hit your head against the brick wall, losing 20 or winning 40 at this stage. So let's find out.
Hoya rejoins with this teleport. Some juicy shock blasts about taking a lot of damage here. Herald down to 4,000 HP. Tidal Wave is only going to land on the Care, but he gets bubbled up as well. But a big stun coming over on the side. Zhuo and Assum trying to flank and trying to pinch Team WE. They have no further contain. The Herald is secured by NIP, but these shock blasts are doing so much damage.
Yeah, it's fish in a barrel.
Yep, they found Arha. It's supportal combat going on for the moment. But Guwon will happily hop over a wall and will just wait for his support to prepare his sushi and for him to pick it up and eat it.
Lovely stuff. A little bit of extra gold there with the first strike. Plus 23 goes in his back pocket. I mean, that whole time as well, Assum just taking the mid-tier 1 turret. So he'd done that before the fight had started, and then he's able to walk in, push an extra wave in. Uses the barrier so that he doesn't get tempo timinged. We love to see it. And he gets back to base on a good timer here. I don't think it would have mattered too much, but there is a Drake spawning in 7 seconds that, again, WE kind of need to fight for. Like we've highlighted, the game doesn't get better, but it looks like they're just going to concede this. I don't think that's in their best interest, if I'm being completely honest with you here. They're all 1 item. And I look across the board. 2 items for Assum, 2 items for Guwon as well. They're going for Hoya.
Yep, but nice job there by Hoya trying to get over to the chickens, avoiding that pillar. And Dragon's going to be secured by NIP. They've got a 7,000 gold lead. Care is unabated on this bottom lane. Teleport's going to be coming out here for Cube, but
it's interrupted.
Yeah,
Tempered fate.
Not great here. Rift Herald going to go down too, and yeah, it's just their cup runneth over with gold right now.
Yes, this is. Believe it or not, guys, pretty difficult game for them to win. I mean, you don't want to take that.
Go on. All right, Karis here. Wait a minute. Hold on. No, it's just. All right. FF the game. There's when things like that happen, you know that it's just you throw your hands up in the air. You're like, what can you do? You take your scheduled loss and you look forward to the play-ins.
That was crazy from Guwon. In no other terms could we phrase that. Like, when that happens to you, it's incredibly, honestly, from Guwon, that's disrespectful. Like, you know, you can't be allowing these things to happen. You have to accept that you're going to die when you do this. Hitting this turret in 99 out of 100 other games results in death. He gets caught under the turret, takes 2 turret shots, then 1 taps about on his way through, lives through, I believe, Summoner Heal and some Caretaker Shrines, sets up another kill for Care, and now NIP 8k gold lead.
And with the lead that the Team WE had in Game 1 and the way they were able to play out the map and how scrappy they were, I really expected much of the same out of Game 2 here, but it has been incredibly disappointing to see them just deflate here. it just, again, it comes back to these solo lanes. Like, Monki goes in, he pays attention, he helps out Karis, and Karis still up so much CS. And yeah, it's not a good matchup, but I mean, it's a non-competitive amount of CS.
Yeah, it's not looking great, but I think that the good thing is that we've started this section of the broadcast by highlighting some of WE's growths. Now, in this game, are we seeing those? Probably not. However, as this is their final game of the regular season, you know, we have to remember that they have made significant improvements. In Game 1, they took NIP to 40 minutes. It was a challenging game. For NIP, you know, they've learned whatever they did wrong in the first game. As yet, they have not yet repeat those mistakes. So hopefully for NIP, they can see this through and they can put themselves to 7-7, give the people on the broadcast tomorrow a nice and easy day without too much in terms of ramifications going on.
I think there is one way out of this for Team WE. They need to iterate upon EDG strat, where you have 2 pauses, but you need to take it one step further, and you need to have the full game restart.
Ah, I see. So what we're hoping for here is WE they find a bug with Gragas, and then that's it.
All right, teleport coming in here. Guwon very low is about to take care of business. All right, stuns are out too. Hoya down to half HP, but it's Care who's shown up to the fight and is shredding these fools with a great petrifying gaze on top of it. Makes it a 3-for-3 in the end. Nice salvage from NIP.
Hey man, WE will take that every day of the week. There is no way they should be winning any fight whatsoever, so getting a 3-for-3, that's massive, to be completely honest with you. There's a big shutdown on Assum's head. Hoya must have been absolutely farming as well, so there'll have been a big shutdown for the Jace's head as well. I mean, if I'm WE, I take that, right? There's very little that can get you back into the game. 3-for-3s for the next 10 minutes could well be one of them, and it comes off of what is just a whiffed engage from Zhuo. Cube with a big find, goes for the body slam flash, immediately knocks Assum into the team. And honestly, I think that his flash and his attempted escape, pretty unfounded. And the good thing is that Care's able to scoop on in. Again, we remember talking about this earlier on, that if WE have enough damage to take down 2 members, they don't have enough damage to take down the rest of NIP. Because somebody else will do damage, whether it's Guwon, Hoya, Care or Assum, they're all set and ready to do it. Just don't know that WE have enough damage in the tank to take down everybody there.
I don't either, but we are getting a teleport in the mid lane here for Cube with 5 seconds until the Dragon, and Team WE have realized, well, it ain't going to get much better than this, so we have to take a shot. Guwon lying in wait in WE's own jungle, and he's going to look to maybe one-shot Karis here. Guwon wisely stepping away so he wasn't spotted out by the sweeping lens. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Hoya is just going to continue doing his thing. WE started the Dragon. It's at 3,000 HP and rapidly dropping. Guwon just waiting to try to make a move. Dragon going to be secured by Team WE. 2 apiece for each squad. Zhuo going to get fully engaged on and chomped. And auto down by a bout. And the push continues for Hoya here as he's on that tier 3 turret. Does not quite get it.
Yeah, values his life, so he's able to get away. I don't think Guwon dies here. Yeah, should just be able to nimbly hop away. It's a bad portal there by Zhuo. Puts it up on the wall and ends up in the Raptor pit instead of on the other side of the wall where he would have most likely been safe. Now Monki looking for Assum here. NIP, they've lost their heads.
Oh, awesome. Listen, this is what happens when you get a little bit too far ahead. You start making a couple of mistakes here and there. All of a sudden, the goal deficit has closed. Monki stepping up just to get the rock candy on the turret candy that he's taking a bite out of. And
about is ahead in gold, somehow.
Yeah.
This Corki has more gold than its counterpart, which, given the way the game was going 2-3 minutes ago, shouldn't have happened. And, you know, maybe there's an element of a caster curse came in. I said, as of yet, NIP haven't made those mistakes, and then they immediately started making those mistakes. So, that could be a problem.
The real mistake is that we were like, hey, you know what? We're going to champion an NIP player for a all-pro, and it's got to be awesome because he's done so much, and we heaped too much praise on him. The good news is the rest of the team is taking care of the job. Literally, because Kara has been so good. Baron going to be started up here by NIP. and they did a great job of clearing out vision. You've got Cassiopeia. This is going to be a very easy Baron take.
All right, we've righted the ship. We've successfully managed to work our way to an objective. We are going to lose a mid-tier 1 turret. Maybe not. I think you still lose it, though.
Yeah, it's still going to go down. All right. Well, we got the cooldown. We got the tempered fade out. And, hey, you know, taking that turret neutralizes the Baron gold from NIP. And Team WE are going to work it all the way down. Maybe even take a bot turret for themselves here.
Right.
They're making macro plays.
And you know what? The team that wouldn't have done this is the first round robin WE.
Correct.
Now, can they defend? That's the next problem, because the top tier 3 turret is on its last legs. This mid lane tier 3 turret is definitely being focused. The entirety of WE have just had to recall out of bot lane. Looks like they're all going to get it back out onto the map within enough time. They might lose out on 1 plate here, but that's of very little consequence at this stage in the game.
Yeah, NIP not really leveraging their Baron too well. I mean, sure, they neutralized everything that Team WE got, but if you're this far ahead and your Baron is just neutralizing the gold that you gave up for it, it's not really that great. We have a teleport coming in from Cube here. They might look to make a play on either Hoya or Guwon. It looks like Hoya will be the target. Flash body slam is there. Don't drop the barrel on him quite yet, but the pillar was there. Another stun going down. Hoya flashes away and escapes the explosive cast because of it. Now Gragas is gone golding, but Monki will finish off the play. Care on the backside. He's forced to flash, but he's in trouble and goes down too. Guwon's damage is there, but the stuns are there. Hang on, Roodod.
Yanni.
Hang on. Team WE are 5 members to 2, and maybe, just maybe, they might try to end the game.
It's 26 minutes. Death timers are long enough for them to go for something here. They don't have the grubs to give them anything extra, so it's this wave and out. I think that the end is a little bit out of reach for them, but with a couple of Piltover Peacemakers, that wave should die.
I don't know about that, Roodod.
I don't know about that,
Roodod. As they're going to find Assum. Assum forced to flash away. Zhuo is low. Zhuo is dead. Oh my god. Team WE, they're going to do it. 10 seconds on the last death timer. Assum's down. Team WE, in the blink of an eye, have turned it around on NIP, and they force game 3.
They won with a gold deficit. They were down so much gold that when they ended the game, they were still behind in gold. Okay, the ninjas have just absolutely sent it there. And you know what? I will... WE, you have my PayPal, all right? You know where to send the money, okay? Because I said that NIP haven't made any mistakes, and then immediately a long cascading list of mistakes befell them into them losing the game.
Yeah, I went from sitting here like, NIP is not really using their Baron too well here, to, well, NIP's really not using their Baron too well here. Typically, you don't go take the Baron, go up 6,000 gold, and then lose the game. It's like the Gru meme, it's like 6k gold lead, take the Baron, lose the game. Lose the game?
Huh? Hold on. What the? When did this get into the plan?
Wow.
Right. Well, you know what, folks? Welcome to the LPL. If it's taking you this long to get here, welcome. But you will have enjoyed that one. I mean, we now go to a game 3, and now we get to see these two teams play
scenarios
to play another series. Yeah, Yanni, all of your pre-prepared 2-1 spiels, they're ready. We can use them.
Yes, sir. So ready for it. And you know what? While we're waiting for stats and stuff like that to come out, well, there's no better time. Yeah. All right. So an NIP 1-2 loss ties them in series and game score with Weibo Gaming. From there, an NIG 2-0 win would put NIP and Weibo Gaming in tiebreak scenarios for 6th and 7th. An IG 2-1 win would give us a 3-way tie at 6 and 8, with a -3 game differential for all 3 teams. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the tiebreakers. So NIP is 0-2 versus IG with a 1-4 game score, and 1-1 versus Weibo with a 2-3 game score. So if IG were to get a 2-1 win, if NIP lose the series 2-1, NIP goes to the bottom of the pecking order. They're all the way down in 7th. then IG's 2-0 versus NIP, as just mentioned, and 1-1 versus Weibo with a 3-3 game score, which means the differentiator between IG and Weibo would go down to number 4, which is head-to-head games won average duration.
So basically,
weird.
Basically, NIP want to win this game. It's what we're saying here. They want to win this series, so they don't end up with weird, wonky tiebreaker shenanigans. Yet, never once did WE have a gold lead this game. Never once.
Most OPL gold graph of all time. Once again, this series has been cinema, if anything. We said earlier, maybe NIP will just 2-0 this, especially with the what we had going on in the first series with the breaks in the action and everything. This series has already delivered, and I couldn't be happier.
Okay, so the really difficult question is, who gets player of the game? Because who actually won this game for WE? Probably goes to Monki, I would say, to be honest.
Okay,
like, I'm going to have to watch it back again in these highlights to see who was actually...
So you have a couple of choices, a couple of decisions to make when it comes to player of the game, right?
Yeah.
In a scenario like this, do you give player of the game to your best performing player, or do you give player of the game to the person who made the game-winning play?
Yeah, that one. The second one.
The problem is, what do we define as the game-winning play in that last sequence? Is it the initial TP and the start of the fight that caused the cascade of crap to occur later on? Was it, Care coming in and immediately getting stunned up? Was it them locking up Guwon too? Like, I don't know.
When you see things like this, how do you then go to losing this game?
I don't know.
What is the pathway that hath been taken? So, okay, this is the beginning. Not necessarily of the end, but this is the beginning of some of the problems that they had where, okay, Assum gets caught. We can forgive one, maybe. We can when we're 8k gold ahead. That's fine.
Yeah. For what it's worth, this is a great turnaround by Care.
Care's able to clean this up. But
do you ever consider here's the play. We can break this down again. So we make the initial play onto Hoya here. I thought he escaped too, based off the timing of this flash.
The flash, yeah. Monkey goes for
and then
a
Monkey
flash
got locked
play.
up. But he's so fast.
He just zooms in.
All right, what happens here?
Plate.
Yeah, the idiots go marching in one by one. Hurrah, hurrah! Is what happens here.
Yeah, this is one of those where WE got a good team win, and the MVP is somebody on NIP who has to take the L for accepting that they threw.
I mean, do you think that they would ever give a player of the game to a player on the losing team?
Never once. They won't do that.
It has happened before.
Has it?
In traditional sports.
Oh, trad sports.
It's not impossible. But I wonder if it's ever happened, and I also wonder if they'd ever consider doing it. For us, I mean, I struggle to say that Care wasn't the player of the game. He played well in that game. Even though that last fight,
I don't think he was ever the problem.
A little rough. Yeah, he was never the problem. Well, I guess you have to give it to Monki because of what he was in. Goal difference and negative 1100.
Damage percentage 17%. Kill participation
6-7
in the absolute mud. Yeah, it's the worst set of stats that you could look to fly for a player of the game, but that's what happens when
positive KDA.
Yeah, positive KDA. There we go.
Wow. Well, I'm honestly still left kind of speechless about the end of this game, Rude Dude.
Me too.
He gets 5 out of 8 votes. Yeah. Remember what we just said about, do you give it to the best performing player on your team, Monki, or the guy who makes the game-winning play, Hoya?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, Cube. My bad. Well,
they chose
the
Monkey.
Votes were split,
and some of them were on line with the second one.
Yeah, the votes were split, which means, in my heart of hearts, still got a good shout for player of the game. Well, with that, we are gonna try to calm ourselves down. We've got a whole nother draft to get into, a whole nother chess match of an early game, and a whole nother crazy set of scenarios that we could run into coming up right after this break.